The following is a presentation of the BellyUpSports Media Network.
The ball sends it over to Edward Robles. Goal! Insert name FC! Let's go! Insert name FC! What is up, everybody? My name is Hector Flores, host of the Insert Name FC podcast, a member of the BellyUpSports Media Network. You can find us on all things podcasting at Insert Name FC. Pretty self-explanatory there. You can also follow us on social media at Insert Name FC on Instagram and the X. Check us out also on Facebook at Insert Name FC as well. And TikTok at insert.name.fc, where you'll find clips along all the other social media platforms that we have, where you can see clips from these recordings. And we are also available on YouTube, so you can have the audio version of this complete episode available on YouTube. And we also break down these episodes in short video forms. Maybe not so short, depending on how long the discussion is. But yes, we do also offer that as well. So check us out on YouTube. Once again, at Insert Name FC, if you guys want to see short video forms. And of course, also, we're available on Golz TV, GolzTV. That's where you can get all our video content as well as the full episode of this podcast is available over there on Golz TV. Go ahead and check us out there. This episode, man, we got overreactions. I'm going to be talking about Marcelo and what happened now that he's a free agent. We're going to look at the Ballon d'Or we're going to look at the Ballon d'Or, and we're also going to talk about what's his name? Eric Ten Hag getting fired by Manchester United and their new appointment of Ruben Amorim. So Jose Tellez is joining us to talk about that, give you guys some players of the week, and give you guys some games to look forward to this coming weekend. And pretty straightforward episode. So yeah, like I said, overreactions, headlines. Jose Tellez from Golz TV will be here with us. Players of the week and games to watch for you for this another great week of footy. So we're going to go ahead and take a break and then go right into overreactions and headlines. Let me tell you guys about BellyUpSports. BellyUpSports is the internet sports bar. Go ahead and check out their website, www.bellyupsports.com, to read some great articles from great writers all across the country, from hockey, baseball, golf, soccer, you name it. BellyUpSports is the premier, not your average website. All right, guys, we're back. All right, overreactions. I mean, everybody knows at this point, I'm not a fan of the MLS Cup Playoff format, especially this new one that this is now the second year of this format. So in case you guys don't know what the format is, and I know a lot of the, I don't want to say Inter Miami fans, I want to just say Messi fans, for you guys to understand, the way this playoff works is you have a wild card round for the 8th and 9th place team in each respective conference. You then go into a best of 3 first round where games will go straight to penalties if it is tie at regular time. And then from there, you go into a one-off playoff game from the quarterfinals all the way to the final. I don't like this format. I have stated how not happy I am about this format. I would prefer a 2-leg starting from the first round all the way to the semifinals, and then the final being in a neutral site to decide who wins the MLS Cup. That's what I would prefer. But I will say it was hilarious to watch, once again, I'm not saying Inter Miami fans. I'm going to say the Messi fans that aren't familiar with MLS. The outrage that came from Atlanta United winning the second game, forcing a game three. A lot of the comments were involving of how stupid the league format is, making the league even more unwatchable, which I'm not going to disagree on that take. Um, some people made a valid point about possibly saying, well, why isn't the third game being played on a neutral site then? Since both teams already played a home game. That's fair, but it's also kind of the advantage of having being a higher seed, you get more home games. But yeah, all in all, it's just people just clowning the league because of the format, which I think respectively so. And I think if we learned anything at this point, if Messi doesn't like something, MLS will change things. I mean, I don't know if I don't know if it's specifically Messi, but I think because like FIFA with the whole FIFA Club World Cup thing, obviously, MLS is now talking about changing the season schedule being, from being a, uh, I guess, spring to fall sport now to being a fall to spring. So basically starting in like August of 20, starting in August and ending it in May, similar to the most of the leagues do. Um, but yeah, but I think also the fact that players have spoke out about this playoff format, specifically Ricky Puig. So obviously it's not Messi, but Ricky Puig also spoke out about how it's ridiculous now that they have to wait um almost a week, probably more than a week, till their next playoff game because of the fact that not only are you having this best of three format, but you're going into an international break soon. And I mean, MLS teams would be happy if their best players are playing internationally. So, um, yeah, MLS needs to do better with this league format. I think maybe push this, depending on what they end up doing with the season, whether they switch the season format to a once again a fall spring versus a spring fall format. I think we'll maybe fix some of those issues, but aside from that, man, yeah, it needs to get better. I don't like the format. I think it's hilarious that a lot of the Messi fans aren't happy about it, but I'm on the same boat. I don't like this format. I've complained about this format as well. So, you're not that far off with your displeasurement of it, but um, yeah, I agree to some extent. Um, but yeah, headlines, man. So the first headline we're going to talk about is Marcelo, who is now a free agent. If you guys remember, he has been playing for a while with Fluminense over in Brazil. Well, they just released him, and it is maybe not because of what happened in the game, but maybe that was just the icing on the cake. Um, I can't tell you what the whole story behind it, but from what I saw from that incident, um, Marcelo was preparing to come into the game as a substitute. The coach, whose name is Mano Menezes, was appearing to be giving him instruction on when entering the game, like what adjustments he wants made in the game. Marcelo just did not look any bit interested in what he was saying. I maybe have said something as well. So to the point where Mano just said, "Well, all right, fuck this. You can," and actually pushes him back to the bench and ends up bringing out somebody else instead. So it has to be like that. Had to be like the culmination of something. I'm not saying that like Marcelo's a prima donna or anything like that, or that he's from Real Madrid, so he expects more. At the end of the day, the coach is a coach. Like you got to give him the respect, regardless of what level you played. The reality is you played now at this level, which Brazil isn't even a bad level. But whatever, if anyone thinks that there's like some sort of arrogance, which I mean, if you're a Real Madrid player, you know for a fact that you were taught that nobody's bigger than the club, even though that's contradicting to some people's beliefs. But at least that's what you were always taught. But yeah, And the match ended up being a 2-2 draw. It was actually against Gremio. And so that incident happened. And of course, um, Mano had to speak on it. I was going to put Marcelo in at that point, but I heard something I didn't like and changed my mind. I put John Kennedy on the wing. He's a strong player, so you have a way out. We've always had a way out. I don't think it's because he came into the team and had any kind of problem. It's not easy to come in at any point in the game. You know that it's a game ending moment. He wasn't coming in to solve any problems. He was coming in to maintain what we had. And there was 2 or 3 minutes left in the game. So, like I said, I wasn't really watching the game. I just saw the clip. If he's saying that there was only like 2 or 3 minutes left, maybe Marcelo just felt slighted that he was coming in at the final parts of the game. Maybe he didn't care too much for the tactics because of the fact that there's only 3 minutes left in the game, and he was just gonna do whatever because there's only 3 minutes left in the game. And I think that can be a bit disheartening sometimes. Like if you're coming off the bench and you're only gonna come in for like a few minutes. Like, what's the point of putting me in now? Kind of thing. Which is, I mean, it is a form of time wasting. It is a way to like kill some time off the clock by doing the substitution, which I guess that could have been the logic behind it at that point. But if that's the case, maybe Marcelo felt that that's beneath him. But let's be honest, man. Marcelo's 36 years old, and I mean, what's there left for him? Like he's had a lot of success, obviously, from playing for Real Madrid for so many years, and then obviously he got to win the Copa Libertadores with Fluminense. So at this point, like, what is there left for him to prove? Like, at this point, you're just riding your coattails to go off in the sunset. Like, I mean, if I'm Marcelo, maybe I don't even think about continuing playing. Maybe I should just consider retiring. Like, what is there left for him? Absolutely nothing. So, like, I mean, either that or try to like clean up his image from this incident. But like, who's gonna sign him? Who is going to sign Marcelo at this point in his career? 36 years old, maybe has some quality left in him. But look, like, he's not even playing. I mean, I don't know how many minutes he's been playing so far this season because I haven't been paying attention I don't pay attention to the Brazilian league like that. But like, I just don't expect it to be like anything miraculous. I don't think anybody's going to pay top dollar for Marcelo at this point. I don't even think he's going to be, if he comes to the MLS, I don't even think he gets DP money. Like, he'll probably be within the salary cap. So, like, what's there to prove for him? Like, he could just hang it up and call it a career. And I think that's perfectly fine. For Fluminense, I mean, I don't know how far they're into the season, but they are 12th place. So, not the best place, but I don't know how they rate that year. But, yeah, it's insane to see, like, I'm not going to say it's how the mighty have fallen. I don't think that that's one of those cases. I just think, well, maybe it kind of is. But, like, he's just getting up there in age. No team's going to want to sign him at this point. Unless you're just trying to do a cash grab. Which, I mean, maybe. Maybe an MLS team goes for it, but he's 36 years old. He's not going to bring much. He's not going to bring anything. And I know we're saying Messi's 37. Look what he's doing in MLS. But, like, I feel like it's different levels. And I don't think Marcelo's at Messi's level. And I think many people would agree to that notion. But, I mean, that's where we are. So, all right. We're going to segue right over to me and Jose to talk about Ballon and Erik ten Hag.
Fight and win!
All right, guys, we got Jose Tellez, the mastermind behind Golz TV. Happy to have you back here, man. I feel like it's been a while.
Yeah, bro. Been a long time. Too long, actually, man. I'm excited. The video for today, the episode for today, it's got me excited. Got a lot of thoughts, so let's get into it, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, it has been the best week for Madridistas. Let's be honest. It hasn't been. I'm still getting reminded.
Yeah.
It's literally the Spider-Man meme of just everywhere I go, I see his face, and it's just Robert Lewandowski. So it's great. I mean, I've already and of course, the video of me just talking about my depression about Real Madrid gets like over 1,000 views on TikTok in one day. So like, of course, it's always me about my depression or me talking about Inter Miami's legitimacy when it comes to Sports Shield. Um, Never when I'm happy. It's just this is what the people want. And speaking of even more sadness on my life, obviously I lost the jersey bet.
Mm.
Never ending. So once again, it's literally, so if you guys want to know, it's pinned literally on everything on social media. So if you guys want to know how to enter the jersey giveaway, you have the entire month of Movember, if you want to look at it that way too as well, to win the winner of the 2024 Ballon d'Or, which is Rodri. Once again, if you don't want the Man City kit, that's fine. We'll give you a Spanish kit if that's what you prefer. So
that's my preference personally.
Ballon d'Or 2024. Rodri, and I'm not mad. I'm not mad because, for starters, this is who me and Musa predicted to win the Ballon d'Or. When we were talking about the Ballon d'Or, it is just difficult to not give it to this man. The impact that he brought to Man City. Yes, they didn't win the Champions League, but still another spectacular year for Man City. And I think you could definitely say Rodri had some very big moments for them that year. And you can't ignore the run that Spain had, and once again, pivotal, even though fitting because he plays the pivot for Spain, but he was a big part of it. Yes, you can give credit to Lamine Yamal, and I'm not saying don't give credit to Lamine Yamal, but there's I don't know, and I think weirdly enough, Paul Scholes, I think, hit it on the nail when he just explained it to everyone that if you are a real football fan, you can see why Rodri won it. And it's purely from the fact that if you know ball, if you understand how the game is played, and let's be honest, midfielders just don't have stats. Like, there's not going to be a lot of stats, specifically even a defensive midfielder. They're not going to have the stats that you're going to see with a Vinicius Jr. or a Lionel Messi or a Cristiano Ronaldo. Like, you're not going to see those stats because the play is on the field. You see what the impact is, which a lot of people were bringing back the Luka Modric year that he won the Ballon d'Or, which was very deserved. I don't care if anybody says differently. He deserved it. He literally took Croatia to the World Cup final. That's impressive by all means. And I mean, also amazing year with Real Madrid that year. Champions League, and I believe Copa del Rey. I don't think they won the Liga that year, but definitely a Champions League year. So. And once again, he's a midfielder. His stats aren't going to be the same as a Lionel Messi stat, but you see the impact on the field. You see what they do. And I think I've talked long enough. Jose, take it from here.
Yeah, bro, I agree. I would say, especially in an era of football that's just, it's different. It's much more pragmatic than it used to be, thanks to guys like Pep Guardiola. But it's, I don't know. People are going to say it's a sign of the times. I kind of agree. Like, I see their point, but it doesn't take away from the fact that Rodri, not even just this past year, man. I mean, the last couple, maybe even a few years in a row, this guy's been arguably the most consistent player in all of football. Never really gets he gets the flowers he deserves. I think everyone recognizes he's probably the best single defensive mid on the planet. I think everyone can confidently say that now, especially after the award being given. But you said it yourself. Midfielders don't get the flowers, the love. They don't have the stats. It's not sexy, but you can't argue that. I think pound for pound, position by position, he is the best and arguably the most consistent player on the planet. I can't think of another one right now off the top of my head. I think here's the thing with the winner though, is like, it really could have been either of these three, right? You could make an argument, and solid one, for Jude, for Vinny, for Rodri. Any one of those finalists could have won it, and I probably wouldn't have batted an eye at it. I think all of the conversation becomes, was Vinny robbed? By definition, it's not a robbery in my opinion, because it was so contentious. There was no clear winner. It wasn't 2021 when Leva, during the COVID season, when Leva had an insane year, basically, I mean, outshining every forward, striker, attacker on the planet, not even close. And that's a world with Messi and Ronaldo involved. And he didn't get it, The year Modric won it, you mentioned Modric, the year he won it, bro, Messi had a pretty insane year that year. I think he was 5th in the Ballon d'Or rankings. Like, There, you want to go back even further, right? Henry not winning at the Invincible season in '04. There are plenty of examples where you can say that was a robbery. I don't necessarily agree with the '03 Henry shouts versus Nedved, just because the Ballon d'Or is narrative driven. Like, that's what makes Vinny's case so strong. They went on to win Champions League. In the latter stages, he had fantastic, huge moments for Real Madrid. Moments that, every fan remembers on their march to another trophy. And that's why, Nedved won it back in '03. That's why Vinny's name was such a massive favorite in this race, at least to many fans. But I'm not mad at this, and I don't believe it was a robbery. I think it's the only issue I really have with all of this, to be honest, is just how Real Madrid reacted. I think for Ancelotti to not be there to receive his top manager award, that sucks. And it sucks because the club is trying to show, they're trying to stand by their dude. They're trying to stand by Vinny, right? Show him support. But I just, it feels a little entitled. It does. It feels like they're bigger than football. And maybe in a lot of ways they are. But I always felt like football's for everybody. Imagine in that Messi Ronaldo era when it was just them back and forth. Sure, you had Kaká one year, you had Modric one year, but like for the most part, for the better part of over a decade, it was always them. Neymar was in there one time, Virgil, but like imagine had one of them just decided, fuck it. I mean, not only am I not going, none of our club is going. Right? I think in the 2017 Ballon d'Or, if someone could fact check me on this, I'm pretty sure when Ronaldo won it, there was rumors that Messi was upset and that he himself may not be going to the ceremony. But I couldn't imagine a world where Barcelona just decided, fuck it, we're not gonna go. None of us are gonna go. No one's getting on the plane just because Messi's not gonna win. Ronaldo's the favorite. Nah, we're not gonna do that. It just, I don't know, man. It's this victimizing of themselves that I don't really agree with. But outside of that, I'm not mad at who won. And I wouldn't have been really super upset had any of the three won. I said this pretty confidently. I think this is the one year where it feels like whoever does win, they're probably going to go down as like the worst winner, right? Like the worst winner in history. Because this year felt weird. It felt really weird with the finalists that we had. So, Rodri's deserving, but it could have been any one of those three.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Madristas here, but I didn't even have. I think I did have Bellingham in my top three. I don't remember. No, I didn't. Wait, I had Lautaro Martinez. I know okay, I did have Bellingham. But like, I would argue I don't need, like when it comes to the moments, right? Jude had the La Liga moments, right? I mean, he had scored 2 goals in his first 2 El Clásicos. Unfortunately, he didn't do any in the third one. But. And Vinny, yes, Vinny played like I expected him to play. I think, when you talk about as a winger, his creativity, his flair, the fouls that he constantly draws. And I will say it is kind of bullshit. I will point out like apparently now how you respond on the field and off the field is now something that is a criteria. I don't remember that being on the list, but okay.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this though. I mean, the whole like class, yeah, on the field and off the field shit, I think that's a BS. If they're just now releasing criteria, that's maybe subtly inserted for Vinny. I don't know, because we haven't really had. When's the last time we had a finalist, a front runner that was as, I don't know. I use divisive because it's not a better word, but Vinny splits opinion a lot, right? Not just between our two fan bases. I could
think of another, not, I was gonna say Portuguese, another Brazilian
Neymar
that I think can be viewed as Though, like, let's be honest, what controversy did Neymar really bring?
No, he was just a party animal, bro. It wasn't like he wasn't like trying to, solve the racism issue, I guess.
But you know what I mean, right? Because everyone, like, I mean, the documentary that they dropped for Neymar, for example, like he's this controversial figure because he has a mohawk. I mean, like it was like, I was like, he was just a kid. Like, I mean, yeah. It was just a kid, and this is what happens when you give a kid millions of dollars. Like, I mean, this is just what happens. And kind of same thing with Vinny. Vinny's just a kid. And I mean, look, I'm not going to tell anybody how not to respond to certain comments. I mean, we saw, and once again, I like Madrista is like, don't put yourselves on a high horse. Like, as if we're not that racist either. Like I saw the clips, like we all saw it. Like you guys were just as awful to Lamine Yamal as well. So, and I mean, Lamine Yamal, I think, applause to him that he handled it in his own way. Of course,
Yeah.
Vinny. I think the thing is Vinny, he brings it on himself sometimes, and I get it. You brought that up once when we were talking about that, Jose. The things that he brings to himself. Obviously, the little moment where he literally rolls the ball away from Kimmich and little the little shithousery that he does. Which I mean, you'll love it or hate it. You love it when he's on your team. You hate it when you're against him. So I mean, like and it's not just that he's the only one that does it. Everyone does some sort of level of time wasting. I mean, if you watch a Liga MX game, you want to see plus 19 minutes of stoppage time. There you go.
Or even an award winner, right? Debo won goalkeeper of the year, the Yashin Award. And I mean, I can't think of a bigger shithouse, besides maybe Vinny, right? Or I mean, people love.
I don't know. I think Debo's definitely.
Yeah. Debo's up there, right? Like 1,000% Debo's up there. But like,
I've never seen Vinny dry hump a trophy before. So,
well, we've never seen Vinny win a World Cup, but. I will say this. I think with no, even if you point to non-award winners, like the English love Jamie Vardy, but he's one of the biggest shit houses on the planet. And I think you just that part of his game can't upset you that much. It shouldn't anyway. Like if you're a fan, be mad in the moment if you lost the game and he's shit housing. But if you won, you're taking all of that right back and saying karma and rubbing in his face. So fans can be just as bad. I mean, I don't think that should be a factor. That's why the whole class criteria it's such BS. Like
it's a pushing of the goalpost in my opinion. Like I just think that's what it was. Like there's nothing wrong with just saying that you felt that Rodri, and apparently some guy in El Salvador definitely felt that way. I didn't even know we let Salvadorians have a vote in the French award, but apparently it's probably honestly it's probably Fernando Palermo. So it was probably him. He's definitely a Barca fan. But which I still love the guy. He's on EA Sports FC. So because I put it straight to Spanish commentary.
Hell yeah. Respect.
But look, there's nothing wrong with saying Rodri was the better player. I've even said Rodri was the better player. And okay, I guess we should just address the Carvajal argument. He's a defender. Like, I'm sorry. This is someone that loves defending, especially being a fullback. Obviously, that was like a couple pounds ago. But I mean, like, they're not going to – defenders and goalkeepers are just not going to get that recognition. Like, the closest that a goalkeeper or a defender would have gotten to the Ballon was Manuel Neuer. And the man was just – I think he was even taking penalties at one point that year.
In 06 too, there was Cannavaro. But like that's like I said, then and him being a Real Madrid player at that time, he literally had to be captain of Italy and hoist that World Cup trophy to even be in the running. Like there's he had an insane season, but a lot of other stuff had to come into play to get him as a defender into that trophy argument.
Yeah, and I mean, yes, Carvajal, you could definitely argue scored a goal in the Champions League final, had his moments as well for Real Madrid. I believe he had an assist in the Euro final. I could be wrong on that one. I could probably just be making things up.
I think he was very crucial for Spain across the entire Euros. Just like when he played, he was definitely one of their better players. Just like Rodri was. Like, to be honest, like both of them were deserving of a finalist show.
Yeah. So, and I mean, top four, not a bad place for him in his scenario, but like you can't put that same argument with Rodri. And once again, it goes to what midfielders do. Midfielders do and I mean, I know defenders do dirty work. I'm not saying that they don't, but the midfielders, you have to play both sides. Like it's not like, attackers can choose to want to defend or not. Ask Cristiano Ronaldo, who never wants to press. Like, but a midfielder, like, not only do you have to support the attack, you have to come back and defend. Like, you are part of that 6, 7, whatever you guys want to put formation you want to create in the back line side. But it's a grimy and physical and it takes it's a lot of cardio. I know. I played midfield at some point in my life and I hated it. I was like, I would much rather be a center back. But yeah, there's just more into it technically. And that's just why maybe for a football fan, this was the right choice. Vinny, I get it. And I would say I'll throw Vinny and Jude both in the same umbrella on this one. If you would have won your international tournament, you would have won the Ballon d'Or, but you didn't. As a matter, and I mean, yes, Jude had his moments of brilliance in the Euro, and maybe you can kind of push that over. But Vinny, at the same time, had his moments of brilliance in the Copa America. And I mean, I don't know if he was the one that got injured or what was the situation, but when he wasn't playing, that's when Brazil looked even worse. So I
Yeah.
think that once again, both of them not even well, I mean, one was at the final, the other one didn't even get to sniff a final. And I I think if one of them could have won one of these tournaments, completely different story. And Rodri probably would not even be top three. And I'm sorry that that's going to be the case, but that might have been the case.
Yeah.
And so I think that if that was the case, yes. But Rodri was clear and cut. Like if you are a football fan, and I'm saying football fan because I'm not. This isn't a soccer discussion. This is if you know football, and that's if you watch worldwide and everything else. Because let's be honest, the soccer fans would have picked Vinicius Jr. And there's no shame to it. I agree. I think I would have loved to pick Vinny, but at the same time, if you are a fan of football, if you understand the football and all the intricacies that comes with football, it's Rodri. It's Rodri every single time of the day.
Yeah, I agree, man. And to put a bow on it, I think, I remember that clip you're talking about with Scholes, and I think it was Rory Jennings going back and forth on it. And I see Rory's point. I think most casuals are probably, I don't want to put bucket fans into casuals versus diehard, but that's kind of what it seems like sometimes. Rory's argument is, the previous winners of this award have always been, frankly, the players you love to watch play the game, right? The ball carriers, the Ronaldinhos, of course, the Messi, the Ronaldos. Even when Kaká won it, I mean, he was insane, had an insane year, top scorer in the Champions League, was flying by defenders left and right, was everything for Milan. Like, I get it. Like, those old days of how this award has been given out, who it's been given out to. Yeah, it's like what we know, it's what we expect the award to be, but I still think no matter what it means, the best player in the world, the individual best player in the world. And I would agree that is Rodri. And when Scholes said that, which I don't agree with a lot of what he says, to be honest, but I think he nailed this one. If you're an educated fan, you can't help but be impressed, right? Completely mystified by what you see with Rodri, because it's a beautiful football. And like, again, he commands his position in a way that I don't think any other player does in their respective positions globally. So it's, he earned it.
Exactly. Congratulations to Rodri. Obviously, everyone should be happy about this because obviously I lost the jersey bet. You guys try to talk me out of it. There's no arguing with me when it comes to a jersey bet. When I sniff one, I just got to do it for some weird reason. I have I think I have a problem. But that's not what my problem is actually your guys' reward. Once again, go on all our social media platforms. The video is right there. If you guys want to figure out how to enter for the jersey giveaway, it's really simple. Follow us on the X. Like, repost that, post that. The same video that you guys see in everywhere on social media, that's the same video you got to find on the X. Just like and repost. If you guys want an extra name on the ballot for your chance to win a Rodri jersey, you just got to screenshot me a picture of you following me either on LinkedIn, impressively on LinkedIn, on YouTube, IG, Facebook, wherever we are on social media. Just send us a screenshot and you get an extra name in the ballot. That's all you got to do. Pretty straightforward. Yes, I'm trying to get more followers on the X. Shocking. Anybody tries to do that. No duh. So if you guys want to get entered for a chance to win a Rodri jersey, once again, it could be Spain, it could be Man City. It's totally up to you. That's how you enter into that competition. But yeah, that's the Ballon d'Or. But let's move on. Hey guys, this is Hector from the Insert Name FC podcast, here to tell you guys about Candidips. It is a great tasting, superior alternative to traditional dip using CBD in a way that is radical, enjoyable, and effective. It comes in 5 core flavors: wintergreen, mint, citrus, mango, and American spice. Candidips CBD is the new evolution in dip, allowing guys to enjoy great, long-lasting taste without the downsides. If you guys want to go ahead and try them out, use the code BellyUp20 at CanadipsCBD.com. Once again, BellyUp20 at CanadipsCBD.com, and you'll get yourself 20% off your purchase. Thank you again for Canadips for being a great partner of BellyUpSports. To Manchester United, the bad man's gone. The bad man is gone. And apparently Cristiano Ronaldo was absolutely correct.
Yeah, he might have been on something. Might have been on something.
Yeah, so Erik ten Hag has been sacked. I don't really know what was the moment that finally the last straw for Manchester United. He's given a lot of chances, and I mean I've talked about this plenty of times on the podcast about why Manchester United can't pull the plug on Ten Hag just yet, and I think it all comes down to the fact that they don't want to be wrong again. I think that that's really what it was, and I think Arsenal kind of ruined everybody's thoughts on how to handle a coaching situation. Um, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was a guy that was once Arteta out. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I know I'm a terrible Arsenal fan.
That's crazy. No, look, bro, I understand. Honestly, I'm empathetic as also an Arsenal fan, with the Wenger out crowd to an extent, and with
I was never Wenger out.
Yeah, I wasn't really either of them. I just it's hard for me to like unless the manager's just lost everything his entire way. I can't think of a single time where I've been like pushing for someone out. At least when it comes to my European teams, because there's a lot more experience at that level. And MLS, different story. But yeah, man, I think that did change. I think how certain people view giving managers enough time. I don't think, despite what a lot of fans out there probably feel about the situation, I don't know if that was the issue. I really don't. I think with Ten Hag, that's why I'm really, really curious. I'm sure we'll talk about it. You know, this how quickly they were able to identify Ruben Amorim as like the next manager and what he may do that's different. But with Ten Hag, there was a lot more, I think, that was to be determined with him. As much time as he was given, as much transfer budget allocation as he's been given to bring in players and change how the squad plays. It's kind of crazy, bro. They won 2 trophies and they still never established a clear identity on the field. You never saw it. I never once saw the method behind the madness. Like I never once saw what Ten Hag was trying to do with the team. They just seemed like a team that frankly was playing the exact opposite of what they were doing at Ajax when he was there, which was very control based, very not just possession, but legitimately just creating opportunity after opportunity. I remember watching his team in, I think it was the 2018 Champions League quarterfinals, or I believe it was the quarterfinals. Might have been round of 16, but just bossing Real Madrid. A bunch of kids.
A bunch of kids.
Yeah, a bunch of kids, just coming in and kind of putting their stamp on a competition they really had no experience in. And it was what we knew Ten Hag to be. And bro, at United, I didn't see any of that. He flat out came out and said they're not going to play that way. And yet this new ownership group, after coming in, having an opportunity in the summer to let him go, find someone, they not only do they not let him go and keep him around, they give him another $200 million almost to go out and spend on players. And then they fire him in October. And so it's like, to me, look, Ten Hag, he has something to walk away from his legacy at United. Technically, since Fergie left, there haven't been many managers as successful as Ten Hag at United. But like, I got to question just some of the ownership decision making. Like, to be honest, everyone was bragging about Ineos and how much, how experienced they were, how much they were going to change the club. It looks like the same old to me. Looks like the Glazers overreacting to a scenario that they put themselves into after spending a ton of money, wasting more time, more resources, getting the fans' hopes up, and then shitting on them. I mean, it feels like the last 12 years at United have felt. I don't really feel bad for Ten Hag. I think he should have been out a while ago. I think my bigger question is now what happens with the new manager? And even before then, what happens with the interim manager, Ruud van Nistelrooy? Bro, Ten Hag was gone for a single game, and Ruud had them scoring 5 on Leicester City for the first time. And like, I don't even know how long. I can't think of the last time Manchester United scored 5 in a game.
EFL third round against Barnsley. 7-0.
Which was when?
September 17th.
Okay.
It was also Barnsley. So I mean,
okay, how about this? I guess the Premier League competition, because that's what Leicester City is. And I feel like that is probably years off. And it's crazy, man. Again, I can't. I wonder what happens if Ruud at Old Trafford this weekend takes down Chelsea. What do you do if you're Ineos, right? Or what are you thinking, right? Smacks up Leicester City. They welcome Chelsea and Cole Palmer to to Old Trafford, to the Theater of Dreams, and they give the fans a win. Like, is Amorim now even under more pressure before he ever starts the job? I don't know. To me, it's kind of an issue.
No, you say a lot of good things. Well, not obviously not good things, but I mean, you make a lot of good points. I mean, if you're an Arsenal fan, great points. I mean,
Facts, big facts.
But Manchester United has just the real point is the fact that like Manchester United has not recovered since the loss of Sir Alex Ferguson. Ever since he retired and handed the keys to David Moyes, technically their most successful guy has been Jose Mourinho, which is just it's a fun thing to just say, just at any time. Like whenever, and Edward's not even ever an asshole to me when it comes to like talking footy, but it's just fun to remind him like your best years was with Jose Mourinho, and he's just like shit, yeah.
All the fans would agree, man. All the fans would agree, and you know what, Mourinho, he's got to have like, did he get a tattoo of that trophy?
Oh, I constantly remind great to remind everybody about the 3 tattoos that he got on very, very old skin. It was a very fresh tattoo of the 3 trophies with little balls on it reflecting the colors of the clubs that he's won it with, because he's once again the only manager to have won all 3 of the European cups. Maybe in a decreasing way, but still he won it, you know.
Hey man, before him, I mean, what other United manager since Fergie could really do it? I mean, at least a European trophy. I think that's
not
Mourinho,
only is he the special one, but he is the only one.
The only one.
So.
Yeah, agreed. He's, in fact, if we did a tier list today, would he not be at the top of all the managers since Fergie?
Yeah. No, if we're talking about Manchester United, yeah. I mean, I would love.
That's what I'm saying.
I would love to put Jose Mourinho on top and just have like Pep at the bottom. And everyone just get mad at me, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Has he won all 3 European competitions?
It's true. It's true. He's nothing Pep hasn't, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Does he have a terrible tattoo on his arm?
And it's crazy that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer replaced him. Like when you really think about it, that's kind of wild. And got a lot of time with the team too. I spent a lot of money as well. And I heard there's even rumors he might come back into the fold. They might bring him back in like a staff function of some kind. I don't know how that's going to work. I heard rumors.
I think he's a really good, like, he's a vibes guy. I think that's one thing for Ole Gunnar. I love Gunnar. I mean, I wish I could.
He just seems positive. You know what I mean? Like he's always like a good time.
Very Norwegian. Very Norwegian, by the way.
Just happy.
I just want to bring back the shirt. I miss that shirt. The in Ole we trust. Yeah, I missed that shirt. I need to bring that back one day. Anyways, but yeah, no, yeah, Ten Hag. I don't know. I think that there was a little bit of the weird thing was, if there was a time to move on from a manager, like you mentioned, new ownership group, all that stuff. But if there was a time to move on and get a new manager, I think that this last summer was definitely the time, because it just seemed like there was just names everywhere. You can bring back De Zerbi again into that discussion. I mean, don't look at the El Clasique because that was terrible on his behalf. But I mean, and then you mentioned Ruben Amorim. He was a front runner for a lot of the available jobs. I mean, not Manchester United, but for Liverpool, hell, even Barcelona was even he was even a name for that. Arne Slot. I mean, I bet you right now, Manchester United fans are just like, when they saw Arne Slot going to Liverpool, they're like, "Oh yeah, those Eredivisie guys don't pan out here, man. They don't pan out." And then,
and that's they didn't go out, bro. They didn't even give him any reinforcements. They signed a new manager, and he doesn't get to sign anybody in the market he really wants to, and he still keeps winning. And it's like, damn, United fans just can't catch a break, man. It's tough.
Yeah, man, it's wild, but yeah, like it's like, man, maybe we got the wrong bald Dutch guy, and because Arne Slot, I never knew who this guy was. I was like, oh, this is the guy that broke the streak for Ajax, because what he did with Feyenoord. But like, and now I didn't even think he was even an option. I thought De Zerbi was going to get the Liverpool job, and clearly I was wrong about that, because that guy went to France. But like, there was just names connected to jobs. Like, it was just like, apparently this was the time to have manager job openings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Manchester United didn't even try. And I think once again, I think it goes back to the whole look how Arsenal was with Arteta. They were patient with him, and like I said, I was an Arteta out guy, and the reason why was just because I was like, they're not getting results, and in reality, the roster was just shit.
The roster was trash. Yeah,
It was a
big trash.
terrible roster. Like I, dude, like you guys want to know how bad it was? I was trying to sell myself on Bellerin. Like I was like all in it. I was like maybe because his name was Hector. I don't know, but I was like, this guy's gonna be something, guys.
The only roster that was worse in those years, and even like leading up to like 2022, I guess you could say when we started getting the title contention runs, was Barcelona's like 2020 roster or 2021. That's the only one, and probably in European football, that was worse than that. In my opinion, just watching those teams like week in and week out. But yeah, bro, Arteta he needed time. He had the vision. He wanted to play a certain style. He had a lot of dead wood to get rid of. I just think Ten Hag needed to be courageous because look at the end result. Look at the end result. Like it was probably going to end this way, the way you were playing anyway. So,
oh, he was courageous. He was courageous by benching Ronaldo.
Bro, I mean, sure. I think personally, maybe there's like, you heard about the stories, right? Like he was never even letting Ronaldo into the locker rooms and shit like that. Like, I think maybe there's like an ego battle there that, and an egotistical side of Ten Hag that we don't know about, maybe. But putting all that aside, bro, just be courageous on the field, right? Like go at teams, right? You actually have some decent players, some decent attackers that are young, hungry, that are ready to prove it, but with no identity, what are they banking on? They're banking on individual brilliance. That's really it. There's no system that's setting them up for success. No system that's giving them an identity, an idea of what to do when they get the ball, who to look for. All those things, bro, are super important when a new manager comes in. And then Ten Hag, bro, the one thing that actually irked me more than him not having an identity, especially towards the end, was the constant excuses, right? The constant, well, look how injured our squad is. Like, of course we're not going to play at our best. Bro, what did Arteta say? Like, literally the next day, when we think about all of Arsenal's injuries so far this year. I mean, it's part of the challenge, We next guy will play, and we're gonna figure this out together. Like, that's exactly what you want from a manager, and not because it's the right thing to say publicly, but because it's the right message to send to the locker room.
Also, if you're Manchester United, you have no excuse. You spent just as much as Chelsea has.
Yeah, bro. It's an insane amount of money. But bro, but just think about it, right? We've both been athletes. Like, imagine you just hearing the press conferences and you hear your coach give you an excuse. We're not going to play at our best because half our squad's injured. So fuck it. Like, if we lose, I have an excuse. It's built in. We're not at 100%.
Man, now that you say that, I kind of get why Xavi got sacked. So
yeah, bro, that too, right? That's the one thing that I used to always gripe about with Xavi, and I would fight Hafid, Barca Boy 103 on this all the time. I know we have an attachment to the manager, to the player, but these little excuses, they just weaken the mentality. They give the players in and out.
Like, if that's how you feel, keep it within closed doors. Don't say that to the press. Like,
yeah, bro. Don't try to save face.
Like, you don't tell Barca fans, like, hey guys, we're gonna try. We're not gonna win, but we're gonna try to beat Real Madrid.
Yeah,
and, I mean, Hansi Flick was just like, have you guys run a mile yet? Like, Hansi Flick literally is Denzel Washington from Remember the Titans. Like, you drop a pass, you run them out. Like, honestly, that's
Facts,
a great,
bro. That's a great analogy. Like, all it took, right, was like just a switching of the mentality, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so much can be solved with that, but if you're giving your team an out or an excuse every step along the way, you're never going to turn this shit around, and you're never going to get the new players on the same page as the old team. The old guys are going to be like, "Hey, listen, don't even try, bro. Like, for real. Like, it's."
Do you think at one point for Ten Hag at least, seeing the criticism that he was constantly, because Manchester United is not an easy job it's a high profile job. It's the English media is probably one of the most irritating media. No offense, England, but you guys are essentially the New York media when it comes to your sport, and I mean respectively so. You have to be that way.
Yeah.
Apparently, you invented it. But I mean. The thing is also, like, do you think that at one point Ten Hag was just, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't? Like, do you think there was a little bit of defeat in him going into this season, or maybe at some point in the season?
Yes, this season, yes. It's probably the only season where I felt like he knew his back was against the wall. He knew that a lot was stacked against him. And that's why I thought, even with the FA Cup win, it's almost like with the win, maybe some of the vibes were there, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we could definitely use this as a springboard to go into next season positively." And we signed a few more players that all work out. But I think a bigger part of him was like maybe like damn, like okay, like if I guess yeah, I have to continue, right? I can't like win a trophy and then just bounce. And the same thing with Ineos to an extent, right? He won. What are the fans going to say if we sack the manager right after a trophy and the next one doesn't work out? So maybe they
because
both.
there was those rumors. There was those
Yeah.
rumors that like they were gonna fire him at the end of the FA Cup final, and I think winning the FA Cup final saved him a few months, I guess you can say at this point. Now,
I think it should. I think it shouldn't have though. Like for me, it's the perfect ending to that story, to that chapter of Manchester United. Like Ten Hag saves a little bit of reputation, reminds the world that he can still win a trophy, right? Even with the team that he had for injured or whatever, and it allows Ineos to have a clean start, to firmly put their ownership imprint on a new squad, a new team, different mentality, hopefully, and you get a full summer to decide who that person's going to be. I just felt like when your back's up against the wall in the middle of the season, you're 14th place. You don't have that time. You don't have that luxury, and you don't have options. Like teams are way less willing to sell off a manager in the middle of the season. You're gonna have to pay, spend some money after you've already given Ten Hag almost 200 million in reinforcements.
and that new manager is not going to get a transfer window till January. So I
Yeah,
mean,
bro, he's got with what he's got, and he's in his own right. Amorim is a good manager. We've seen that with Sporting, but I don't know, man. Just so much of this has me questioning Ineos and Ten Hag. I mean, he still won 2 trophies at United. I'm sure whether he ends up in another league or elsewhere that he probably will bounce back. I don't know if it'll be the Premier League. I really don't, but I think he will. But it felt like this was already overdue.
yeah, and I mean, I think it honestly should have been way sooner to fire him at this point because you're talking about like embarrassing losses. You know, the 3-0 loss to Liverpool. And once again, that the other Dutch manager that's Ball that didn't do much with Liverpool. He didn't add much things to it. The only thing he did was bench Darwin Nunez and started Diego Jota, which that hurts my pride about me hyping up that guy. But and then even more, you got embarrassed by Tottenham. That I would have fired you after that, you know, because how the hell do you use the fucking Tottenham?
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure Tottenham fans are not at this point. I've said a lot of things about Tottenham fans. They can all go to hell. But and then you lose to West Ham. And then the last not Champions League, Europa League matches have not been great. A 1-1 draw to 20, a 3-3 draw to Porto, a 1-1 draw to freaking Jose Mourinho getting the last laugh. You know, like it's just not been great for Manchester United. Like at any point, you should have got fired. You drew to Aston Villa 0-0, and you're sitting in I think 14th place right now in the Premier League. It has not been great. I feel so bad for your friend, by the way, on at Yanks of the Round Table. You know, started off rough in the picks, and now Manchester United is just. Oof.
Max is he's slowly getting safer with the picks and climbing back up, but it's a rough go around right now for sure. He's bro, and he's a Yankees fan.
Okay, now I don't feel as bad. Now I don't feel as bad. You know what? If you want, sign up for the jersey giveaway. Maybe you can win that. Yeah, you know, maybe not, but you need a win. But yeah, I think at this point, anytime, I think honestly, the ownership had any opportunity to just end the bleeding, just stop the bleeding at this point because it hasn't gotten better. And you fire him, you have Roosevelt Spencer, which I don't think it was a bad idea to at least finish off the year with Rude as the interim guy. Maybe bring in the new guy around, maybe going into the January transfer window.
Yeah.
To at least let the new guy have some sort of assessment of the team before going into back in season. But I mean, yeah, a 5-2 win against Leicester City, which was a really good performance, by the way. Everybody's like, where the hell was this? Where the hell was all this from? And once again, you're talking about Ruud van Nistelrooy, a very attack-minded guy, obviously, but even from his coach, I'm still shocked at the fact that this guy left his job to become an assistant at Manchester United. Like that just tells you how much this guy loves Man U because I don't know if legend's the right word for him, but obviously a guy that understands what it means to play for Manchester United, I think is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
But he's played for other big clubs as well. And, you know, he comes in, you know, he's like, I got to steer the ship, right? but you're Van Nistelrooy right now. Like, did you want this job, or do you think he kind of understood what his role was going to be in the situation?
I think he thought there was a chance this could happen and that realistically he could be given some time to be the interim. That's what I think. I think you take that risk and it just so happens it's a club that you have a legacy at, that you have probably a lot of love for. So there's an emotional component to it too, but I really think he thought, look, Ten Hag is on his last wheels, 100%. And if he doesn't get the job done, which you're not cheering for that, he wants United to be successful. But still, thinking about his own career, there could be an opportunity for me to do what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did and be the next interim that maybe becomes their next long-term manager. We know that not to be true now. But that's what I'm saying. I think the question becomes even bigger after this weekend. It really does. Like, if United take down Chelsea, and not just in a crazy, because this can be considered its own little unique rivalry, at least in the Premier League era. United and Chelsea have been just a classic match time and time again. Some of that could take over, but if they take down Chelsea and he goes 2 for 2 and looks pretty good like he did against Leicester City, I don't know, man. Amorim might be not rethinking it, but it's just like the pressure piles on. The more wins Ruud gets while he's in interim, yeah, it'll be there. If Amorim can't keep that going, yeah, man, the criticism for both him and for Ineos gets much louder.
Yeah, for sure. And before we go into Ruben, obviously we heard all the rumors. I mean, before Tuchel took the English job, he was apparently the front runner, and which Ten Hag took to offense, right? He took offense to the fact that there was even rumors of Tuchel taking the job, about which meant that he was going to get fired. So
Yeah,
he took offense to it. Clearly not that much offense because he still lost. But I mean, like, Xavi was mentioned also as well.
yeah.
Um, I don't think Zinedine Zidane was brought up, but I'm sure someone mentioned that name at some point. I don't think that guy's getting a job anytime soon. Um, but there were names speculated with Manchester United. Ruben was probably like maybe more recent was a name that was coming up. It wasn't a name that was brought up throughout the season for Manchester United. But
Yeah.
um, do you think, obviously Van Nistelrooy to me logically made more sense at this point in this scenario, but what is it about Ruben Amorim and what made him kind of push away from the other candidates that we were looking at from the rumors?
I think it's some of just his reputation coming into this, to be honest. Well, first and foremost, I think they've been lining up this Amorim deal for a while, right? Like, look how fast United was able to move into these conversations with him. There had to have been someone in constant communication with him, keeping him updated on how conversations were going, especially as the Ten Hag managerial seat got hotter week over week. So with how quickly they moved, he had to have already been the front runner and already someone they were talking to. But remember, I think in the summer he was rumored to go to West Ham. I think before they hired Lopetegui, he was kind of the manager that they were talking to, they were interviewing. And this is why, to me, man, I don't know, Amorim, he kind of got some snaky vibes about him a little bit, at least in terms of like how he's kind of just always looking out for himself. But he was supposed to go to West Ham. He went back. I think, some of the players who were at Sporting who were there, guys like Gyökeres, and a few other guys in the team who were really there for him, to play for him. After that whole West Ham conversation came to light publicly, I think there were rumors he went back and kind of apologized, asked the team to rally around him. This probably wouldn't happen again. And then a few months later, he's announced as Manchester United manager. And I think, this even happened back in the day when he was at Braga. Very similar scenario with how he's kind of like moved on within the Portuguese league. So I think, look, he's looking out for him in his career. I thought he was always going to end up in the Premier League at some point. We almost saw it with West Ham, and now we get to see it with United. I think my question is with him is like, what I'm trying to figure out and assess is, how is this not a Ten Hag type of signing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it feels like a hipster manager signing. There were some pretty big, proven managers available, Tuchel being the most obvious one. They had the conversations with him in the summer. Things didn't go well. I don't think he would take it again, even before the England job. But it just, I don't know, man. There, to me, there were a little more names that might just been a little more established. But you find another manager who's arguably outside the top 5 in Europe, who's seeing his own success in his respective league, and that's great. but it's just it's a different league entirely in the Prem. The badge of Manchester United weighs very heavily. I'd fail to kind of see outside of age what really, really separates Amorim from Ten Hag. I thought they would have gone with like a different profile, but maybe Ineos see something in him that I don't.
I think is Ineos just like, is that it's an English group, right? Or is it a Portuguese group?
It's I believe it's probably, well, I know Sir Ratcliffe. I don't know if Ineos as far as all the major stakeholders are all English, but I would assume they are.
Okay, I know that Porto is like sponsored by them, as far as like,
it could be. It could be.
Yeah. But it is interesting because I think you have a point about like the similarities to Ten Hag, which is obviously he's an exciting young manager who's doing fairly well with Sporting, which Sporting right now is in first place in the Portuguese league, by the way, and 6 points away from Porto. So take that with a grain of salt. And obviously he's the guy that got Sporting back into the championship back in 2021, where they finally won their first championship in years. And since then he's had a lot of positive results over at Sporting. Now the thing that's kind of, once again, he's very young, 39 years old, very young for a manager, which scares me because I'm creeping close to that age. Not that close, but I am in my 30s, and that kind of scares me now. But I do think that there's some things that he's gonna have to adjust. I don't think the 3-4-3 is gonna work in the Premier League. That's just my opinion. I don't know if he has the personnel for a 3-4-3 as well. At least for Manchester United, I think that's maybe his preferred formation, but in the Premier League, obviously, it's a different type of beast, and you may not be able to do those things. But yeah, you had experienced managers. I think Southgate was also rumored for the Manchester United job, or at least that's what everyone thought. Like, you don't quit England unless you think you have this kind of job, kind of opportunity that was mentioned before, which Southgate is available. But I think the fact that he is young, which, I mean, that's kind of been the whole thing now. It's all about getting these younger in every sport, actually. It's about getting these younger coaches that played at one point and a lot more recently than the other managers, thinking there's some sort of relatability. I mean, it worked for Real Madrid with Zinedine Zidane. It worked kind of with Xavi in Qatar. It's even worked in American sports. We have not young, but younger coaches who are more relatable to the athletes. I just don't know if the thing is with me is I don't know what Amorim's like Premier League experience is, because I know he did play for Benfica when he was a player. But as far as anything else, I don't know if he's ever, even besides watching it on TV, has ever like saw what the Premier League is like. It's the big leagues, right? It's the show. So what goes in for that for Ruben Amorim?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you and I are kind of the same boat in terms of not knowing what to expect. The good news is, like, it feels like no matter what, a change has to happen. I would like to think the players are going to expect at a minimum, some brand of football on the pitch from Amorim, a style that he wants to play, a brand that he wants to firmly imprint on the squad. So at least there's that, right? They're going to get maybe some clear direction on what to do, when to do it, who the actual go-to playmakers are going to be. Maybe look, I know Bruno's former sport thing, so like maybe the captaincy doesn't change. But in my opinion, that's another leadership position that should be up for grabs with a new manager coming into town. I think it's just how, in my opinion, sports should work. Like, managers, teams should always pick the captain, but sometimes it ends up being the manager. And if that ends up being the case, when a manager moves on, the new one should maybe have a say in how that process works. And that might mean Bruno's not it. But I don't know, man. And also, to me, Bruno, I could be being harsh here, but I don't think he's the best captain anyway. Like, if I'm being...
Oh, I agree.
If I'm being serious, like, yeah, I don't like the guy who
should be the captain, though. I mean, it's not necessarily... Yeah. It's not necessarily there's not like a guy that sticks out to you. Harry Maguire would be hilarious. I mean, like,
I don't know, bro. Usually the most. I mean, if Luke Shaw wasn't so damn injury prone,
man, you're right. I would love to. Luke Shaw is so underrated, man. I love that guy. He's a dog.
But
But
he's just been there forever. He's English, so it's like on brand with who Manchester United, typically are. And that's not a factor for captain, but it's just like he's like on brand for the club. If he played consistently, he's been there so long that you would expect him to be the captain. He just knows what it means to be at Manchester United. But again, those are just little details that Amorim will have to figure out. And what sucks is he's going to come in at a tumultuous time. He might get bailed out a little bit with being able to do something in the transfer window if they can swing it, Ineos. And I'm sure they've talked about that already. They had to have talked about that. So yeah, man, I don't know, but it's look, he's gonna be under pressure from day one. Keep in mind, guys, they're paying, I think it's 18 million, 20 million to release Ten Hag from his contract and acquiring Amorim for 10 million. Right? So you're spending 30 million to bring in this manager on top of all the money you gave the last manager. So things have to work. This is a big, big bet Manchester United are making.
yeah, definitely. And yeah, I think that there's gonna be a lot of homework that needs to be done. Because I honestly, before you even think about spending, you gotta look at that roster, man. You gotta look and see who you can work with. Who is some guy? I mean, I think Bruno Fernandes will be the guy that ends up kind of benefiting from this because he's familiar to the tactics of Sporting. At
Yeah.
least the mentality that Sporting comes from. I think that obviously the fact that he is a former Sporting player, I'm sure he keeps track of Sporting, and so he has a general good idea of what Ruben Amorim is going to want to bring to the table.
Yeah.
But before you even think about a single signing, you got to look at that roster and say what you really have to think. Like, do we really need those players? Because I mean, if there's one thing we know about the Portuguese league, it's a good stepping stone for a lot of players to end up going into the Premier League as well. So I think that that's something that maybe they need to look at. Do they need more better defense? Do they need a better attacker? What it is, but then also at the same time, who are you getting rid of that in that Manchester United team? Because there's a lot of dead weight on that team. Let's
Yeah.
just be honest.
Yeah. I agree. They're almost like in a. I thought it's been the way for a long time though. It's so difficult for United to get rid of players. It really is. Like I thought Arsenal had struggled back in the day. I thought getting rid of some of this deadwood, but not like this. This is crazy how long some of these players have been there.
Yeah, and I mean, I talked about this too. I was like, a lot of people, are making fun of Chelsea for buying players that they absolutely do not need, and I'm like, if it wasn't for the fact that Chelsea has, the American owner, if they didn't have Bowley over there, you could easily all the same things you were saying about Chelsea, you can easily say that about Manchester United because they've been spending guys for guys that are well, at least okay. They weren't necessarily head scratchers when they went and got them. Anthony, I think everyone was like, "Oh, you got to get this guy," and he hasn't really panned out. Jadon Sancho was like, "Oh, we got to get this guy." Obviously, now funny enough, you send him to Chelsea.
Yep.
It's those. That's one thing I always try to say that I can't really criticize the ownership too much when we're talking about the Glazers because it's like it's not like they're not going for it. Say what you want about Ten Hag, but at the time, and obviously hindsight's always 2020, but at the time, Ten Hag was like the sexiest name on the market, and didn't pan out. But and the same,
Big
and then
truth.
Donny Van de Beek, he was kind of sexy before you guys went and got him over at Ajax, and we're trying to learn that whole Ajax team was just fraudulent in some sense because
Yeah. I mean, not in some sense. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how people feel about De Ligt now. I'm not terribly mad at Frankie. And some other players, Donny Van de Beek and some other guys, Anthony. Yeah, a lot of them are on fraud watch for sure. Frankie actually might have been the one clear like guy, I guess, who's kind of panned out. I mean, at least skill wise, he doesn't have like the trophy cabinet with Barca yet. He's got some, but there was still a higher expectation. But
yeah,
yeah, bro. I mean, Ten Hag, he was
Onana.
supposed. Yeah, Onana too. I think he was. Ten Hag had. There was a lot of good that he left at ICE to take a risk and go to Manchester United and fix a very big problem. Amorim's doing the same thing, bro. I mean, I don't know. It'll be really, really interesting. I can't remember a manager transfer this contentious in recent times. I really can't. I think it's gonna be there's gonna be a massive microscope on Manchester United for at least the remainder of the first half of the season.
Man, now that you say that, I think this is the worst time to bring in a new manager, like a fresh manager,
Yeah.
a young manager, because This honestly should, and I mean, let's be honest, the Arsenal situation, you could probably make a valid argument that maybe Arteta in that moment, you're like, is it really a bright idea to bring in a guy that literally does not have any like manager, like head, club, like the guy experience aside from being an assistant to come in and fix Arsenal, which I clearly, once again, I was very much wrong on that, and I apologize to Arteta as much as I can. Um, and he brought my son. So there's a lot of things, that Arteta did that I always have to forgive him for,
Yeah.
or I mean, I apologize to him for, it, and hopefully he forgives me. But I think in this scenario, I don't think this is the same situation. I think this is like obscene. This is like you let that kid go out with a credit card and not realizing that he was gonna go buy like a Ferrari with it. Like like this is like kind
Yeah.
of that like Arsenal at this point and now it's like it looks like an arcade versus what Manchester United did. And I think bringing in this guy to come and try to fix the situation here, maybe you just needed that. And once again, a guy that just finished the year off, just finished the season off, just kind of get to the end, and then maybe bring in Ruben Amorim after that, after probably repeating as the Portuguese champion, and then bring him in because like this could be a very overwhelming job, and maybe you just need a guy that specializes in shithousery organizations. And I don't I maybe and I could be wrong. I could be wrong at the end of the day too. We all could be wrong on this, but maybe he's gonna be taking it's gonna be too much for him to chew on, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. I agree. I think it'll be uh, I don't know, man. I'm gonna just keep my expectations open. I think moving forward, that's what United fans have to do. In all honesty, bro, have zero expectations. Yeah, give Amorim a chance by having zero expectations. I agree with Hector. I remember the hype with Ten Hag coming in. What was the quote, bro? What was the quote that Ten Hag had? It was like, "I respect what City and Liverpool have done, but eras come to an end."
Oh
And it's
yeah,
like
I forgot about that.
it's so awkward, right? Like now, right? Like just ironic now that his era has officially come to an end. But that's the thing, man. And it's hard. It's hard for us not to get super excited, bro. I remember how excited I was for Unai Emery to come to Arsenal, and we all saw how that shit went. But the biggest thing I think for Amorim to even have a chance at being successful beyond the 3-season mark that most of these managers post Fergie have gotten is expectations. That's really got to be it from the fans. I mean, don't get me wrong, he can't be a serial loser, but he's got to be given time to become a winner. And so I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's starting off in a really bad place, being in 14th. So
Can't get much worse though. So there is, silver lining, silver lining.
yeah, I mean,
Almost rock bottom.
almost rock bottom, but yeah, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how he turns this around. No, I'm not gonna do a jersey bet with Manchester United. I've learned my lesson on teams that were on the verge of getting eliminated, getting relegated. So I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. But but yeah, I mean, this weekend is gonna I believe well, it's gonna already have happened at this point, but the Chelsea game is gonna be all eyes to see. I think what Ruud van Nistelrooy is gonna have it's gonna be a showcase game. I mean, yes, the Leicester City game was, you could say the same thing as well, but this is going to be a more of a showcase. I would love to see Manchester United win this game just because I want to see young Kippa just be full out the press, and I just think I just need that just for my whole past week. But yeah, I think that this is just, we'll see what happens. Obviously, it's not going to be Amorim. It's going to be Ruud van Nistelrooy, at least for right now. Next week, we'll definitely see Ruben kind of implement his tactics right now. But I mean, at this point, Ruud van Nistelrooy is just, I think he's going to do right by the club. But essentially, this is his like little, hey, if you need me, this is what I can bring to the table as well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we'll see what happens, bro. I'm very intrigued to follow the next few months.
Yeah, for sure. And I wonder what Manchester United does in that January transfer window, because that's going to be very telling on how they approach that second half of the season. But
Who do you get? Who do you get if you, or just position? Who do you get to bolster this version of United?
so I was looking at Sporting, and they've only allowed 3 goals so far, and that means 10 games. But still, 10-0, only allowed 3 goals versus their 35 goals that they've scored so far this season. I mean, you got to look at one of those center backs, right? Those young center, because that's a young back line as well that's over there in Sporting, and it's a three back. Uh, at least if that's what they're using for Ruben's system. I mean, that kid Ignacio has been a name that everyone keeps looking at. I mean, I think he's played for Portugal now, I think. Um, Quaresma is a name that I see a lot, but I don't know if he doesn't get as much hype as I see with Ignacio. I would say if you want to make a statement, a backline with Lisandro Martinez and Ignacio. I don't know what the backline right now for Manchester United is. Obviously, it's probably not good, but I mean, at this point, not everything is good for them.
Yeah, yeah.
But obviously, defense isn't a sexy signing in any case, which is, it's sad to say that, but I get excited for a defensive signing, but no one else does. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think, but if they do, I just don't think they need an attacker, if that makes any sense. I mean, how many more attackers do you need?
Yeah, they don't like in numbers, they don't need an attacker, but they need one of quality. Like
Okay, well, that's
I
right.
thought Xerxes wasn't it. I'll be honest, bro. Like even when they signed him, even when he scored his goal against Fulham, and United fans were like, yeah, see the signing was perfect. It's like, what has he done since then? And of course, hindsight's 2020. But even when he came over from the Serie A, I just felt like he was a different profile than Hoyland, but I don't know, man. He wasn't a clinical finisher. And now, again, United they can't finish their dinner if it's being shoved down their throats for them, bro. Like, I can't think of how many chances I've seen this team miss. And I feel like, yeah, defense will set the ship right. It'll probably, stabilize everything. But I don't know who's going to score goals consistently for this team right now. I
So
really don't.
you're thinking of like an established goal scorer, like a guy that has experience, a guy that knows what it takes to just do his job and put one in the back of the net.
A guy like Amorim had at Sporting, and that's why the rumors around Victor Gyökeres is interesting,
That's
right? And
another name I was thinking of as well.
yeah, he's someone that I would love to have at Arsenal. I'll be honest, but it would make sense for him to follow his manager to Manchester United. So Xerxes, man, I don't know, might be on his this quickly, right? 6 months into his tenure at United, this dude might be on loan or finding a way out. I don't know.
Which is sums up most of the Manchester United guys. I mean,
Yeah, that's
who
that
we
again.
got? Oh, we don't play them. Oh, get out of here.
Or we sign them and they're never available, like Mason Mount, right? It's just I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Oh man, I forgot Mason Mount even exists.
I'm telling you, bro. I think Mason Mount, Anthony, Xerxes, those guys could be out really soon, either this January, maybe not all of them this January, but by this summer, things get really interesting.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Manchester United, man, has just been like I said. If we weren't so focused on bashing Chelsea's like packed locker room, we would probably be criticizing Manchester United so much more because it has also been ridiculous with what they've done out like, and it's crazy because like you can go, you're not gonna always. These guys aren't always gonna be hits. Like let's be honest, like you know. Mbappe sounds cool, but then when you put him not in a position that he wants to play because he's a selfish little prick, he's a yes, I'm so salty. Like it's not the hindsight is like, oh man, this guy I might have to treat him like Eden Hazard because that guy didn't pan out either. But like, and but for you to be consistently bad at like getting at signing these guys, like it like you have this is like an art now, like to be this bad at like player acquisitions.
I agree.
Like
Yeah, bro. I don't know, man. It's impressive in its own way. It's impressive.
like to have all these misses. Like, bro, Jadon Sancho was at the Champions League final last year.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But again, it just you got to ask yourself, what were they really misses, or was it the manager? And that's why I'm saying like a brand of football solves so many of their transfer business problems. If you know what type of system you're running and the type of football you want to play, it basically is a blueprint for the transfers you should be going after, for the holes you need to fill on the pitch. And if you don't have that, bro, you're just blindly picking players based on whether you like them or not. And I don't know, man. I can imagine investing hundreds of millions on hopes and dreams and just being hopeful of these players panning out.
That's very true. But we'll see what happens with Manchester United. We'll see if it's going to be a new start or same old, just same shit, different day.
As an Arsenal fan, I hope for the latter, but we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how it goes, man. But Jose, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's always great to have you on, man. This is your time. Tell us what's going on at Golz TV. I know there's some big stuff happening over there.
Yeah, man. Pretty soon, very soon, actually. Within the next couple of weeks, we got our mobile app coming. A lot more creators joining Golz TV nowadays too, and everyone. It seems to be all kind of slowly picking up steam. So, look, man, if you're a footy fan who appreciates content just like Insert Name FC, just do me a favor, go check it out. Let me know what you think. GOLZ.TV. A lot more coming very, very soon.
All right, man. Thank you so much, Jose, and I'll try to bring you on a lot sooner.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, everyone. It's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at BellyUpSports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
All right, guys. I want to thank Jose Tellez for coming on to talk headlines with me. Obviously, always great to have him on. Make sure you guys check out Golz TV, GOLZ.TV. Lots of great stuff happening over there at Golz. But all right, Players of the Week is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is an amazing ticketing site, app, however you use it, is there to be at your best convenience. It is probably your best way to get tickets to sporting events, live shows, concerts, comedy. If it's live, it's going to be there at SeatGeek. So if you guys want to know, if you guys already like at least the simplicity of it, I can tell you why it's so simple and easy to use. It has a grading system that involves colors. If it's red, that means this is not a good deal for these tickets. Go look around go continue looking through sites. You're going to find a better seat. If it's green, that means go get these tickets. The deal is worth the price. The seats are worth the price, and you're going to enjoy them. So if you guys love that simplicity and you wanted maybe a little bit more sugar on there for you, well, if you guys use the code BellyUpSports at checkout for your first purchase, SeatGeek will take $20 off that first purchase for you. So once again, use the code BellyUpSports for your first purchase and get $20 off. Thank you, SeatGeek, for being the presenting partner of Players of the Week. Edwards Player of the Week is Dani Olmo, who scores 2 goals in Barcelona's 3-1 win against Espanyol. So Espanyol wasn't too much of a thorn this time to Barcelona. So yeah, that's great. And my Player of the Week is, look, I really don't want to say this name. I don't even want to acknowledge the team that I'm about to acknowledge. So I might call in a sub right now to do it for me, because I ain't fucking doing this.
Some great Champions League matchups today. Milan went to the Bernabeu, upset Real Madrid. That was big time. Pulisic got an assist. That was awesome for America. Sporting beat City 4-1, and Man U seems to have their guy that can take down the Goliath, that is Guardiola. And Liverpool, 4-piece Leverkusen at home to give Xabi Alonso a tough reunion back at Anfield. But most importantly, the insert name boys just let me announce the Player of the Week this week, which is Tottenham's own Dominic Solanke, the Archer. 2 goals this week. We beat Villa. We move up the table. Most goals in the Premier League this year. Highest pressing team in the Premier League this year. Believe in the Spurs. And they're only 2 points behind title contenders Arsenal. See ya, Hector. And have a good one. Make sure you tune into everything Insert Name Pod.
All right. So congratulations to Dani Olmo and that guy for being our Players of the Week. If you guys see the graphic and you see Dani Olmo and that other guy, on that post is going to be a link where you can give one of those 2 players an extra vote into our Player of the Year competition for the Roosevelt Spencer Player of the Year award. So if you guys like to improve Dani Olmo or that guy's chances, well, there's your shot, man. So, once again, congratulations to these two guys for winning Players of the Week. And shout out to Peter for coming in and announcing the Player of the Week, because I'm not going to do it. And also, thank you to SeatGeek. Use that code BellyUpSports to save $20 off your first purchase. All right, guys, we got some games to watch this weekend. We got MLS Cup. We got the last remaining teams that need Game 3, drama. The drama. We want the drama. Let's be honest. We want that drama. So, MLS Cup, Game 3s happening this weekend. We got Chivas de Guadalajara taking on Atlético San Luis. We have Toluca versus América. Cruz Azul versus Tigres in Liga MX. And in Portugal, we got Benfica versus FC Porto. That's going to be a really juicy matchup. It is a rivalry game, so make sure you guys check that out. In Liga, we got Nice versus Lille, Lyon versus Saint Etienne. So some bounce back games for some people. In the Bundesliga, we got RB Leipzig taking on Borussia Mönchengladbach, and VfB Stuttgart taking on Eintracht Frankfurt. In the Serie A, we got Juventus versus Torino, the Battle of Turin. It's a derby, so it's always form goes out the window when we talk about derbies. Probably not. Juventus is probably going to win. Hopefully, Weston McKennie and Timothy Weah score some goals. And Inter Milan versus Napoli. It is a Conte revenge game, so we'll see how he does with his boys in Napoli take on his former team in Inter Milan. We'll see how that pans out. In La Liga, we got Real Madrid taking on Osasuna and Real Sociedad taking on Barcelona. And in the Prem, we got Liverpool versus Aston Villa and Chelsea versus Arsenal. We got a London derby. So buckle up and get ready for this weekend, man. It's not all the matches happening this weekend, but if you need a good beginner's guide, I think we gave you guys some good matches. Go ahead and check out. So we're going to go ahead and take one last break, and then we'll wrap the show up.
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at RighteousFelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
All right, guys. That is episode 193. Shout out to the Belly Up Podcast Network. Check out their website, BellyUpSports.com. Follow them on Instagram and the X at BellyUpMedia and at BellyUpSports. Lots of writing, lots of articles being written constantly over there at Belly Up Sports. You can check out Nick Gable talk as he continues to cover footy for Belly Up Sports, and also just check out all the great articles. Obviously, NFL, college football. I mean, the MLB postseason's over. Thank God the Yankees did not win a World Series. So, I'd much rather have the Dodgers win a World Series than watch the Yankees win a World Series. I'm just gonna say that. Sorry to Matt. I love you, Matt, but I hate your team. And I'm sure you hate my team as well. But anyways, but yeah, go ahead and check them out on Instagram and the X at Belly Up Media and at Belly Up Sports. Check out some of the great podcasts that Belly Up Sports also provides, like us, Insert Name FC, High Low Sports with DJ and Kelsey, the Corner Booth Pod with Jared and Matt, and much more. 1420, Time to BS. I mean, just craft brew. So many great podcasts that you guys go ahead and check out, especially if you want to get more in the know of all the sports that go on here in the U.S. And then shout out to Golz TV, man. Golz TV is an amazing vision of the goal that they are having to try to make soccer cool in America. It comes in line with what my goals are as well with Insert Name FC. So check out all the great stuff that they have over there. A lot of original content creators that cover the beautiful game here in the U.S. And if you guys want the American perspective of the beautiful game, go ahead and check them out there. You'll also find me on some of their original programming, like Yanks to the Round Table and Wake Up MLS. So it is great, especially if you like the discussions between me and Jose. That's definitely a great way to go see some more of it as well. So thank you so much. And of course, shout out to Roosevelt Spencer, the namesake of the Roosevelt Spencer Player of the Year Award. He is our producer extraordinaire. He makes all the beats, the intros, the outros. He has to unfortunately try to improve our voices when we do our singing bets, which, guys, get ready, because end of the year episode, that is the last singing bet that will be performed for Insert Name FC's history. So, and Spencer's going to be the one that has to make it sound good. So we love him so much. That's why we named the Player of the Year award after him. So if you guys want some beat work done, follow him on Instagram at ThatGuyDope. Once again, at ThatGuyDope. We love Spencer. We love everything he does. Once again, he just became a father. Congratulations on him for that. And so thank you so much for listening to episode 193. Catch us next week for episode 194. Take care, guys.